Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Korea run here in Victoria 3, and last episode we became a strong independent market that didn't need no Great Britain, but that's not really important. What's important is the mistakes we have made. The mistakes we have made. I would like to apologize to all of the viewers for, what I did that was not appropriate, which is that we only have 560 construction, and this is just a problem. Morally, I have failed. So this episode, we're going to be at least doubling construction, trying to triple construction, which is going to be difficult because, we're running this, but we're going to see what we can do. We're really in a really strong position to pop off, especially because, we're getting so much money from Diplopacts. We're getting, we're at this point where we haven't even swapped everything up to steel frame buildings, and we are in a position where every single building we build is going to be very valuable because we still have so many peasants. And so this combined with us starting to actually break free in terms of getting a lot of technologies quickly because we are going to be building our first 51 university. This is going to allow us to really start churning through, and I'm expecting this line. It's not about the size of the line, it's about the shape of the line, and this line's about to become more erect, as is our construction amount. So I wanted to take a little bit of interest in our interests and describe why we are doing where we are putting a lot of our interests. We have in Europe kind of the capitals of a lot of places, the Russian capitals in the Baltic. Just in case they rev, we want to be able to maybe join the play on either side. North Africa, I think we're going to go after Tripolitania if it ever looks good, kind of after going after some of the other ones because there's a lot of oil there. We have the Nile mainly because we are trying to pull Egypt into the customs union. Congo's for colonization. North India's in case they rev, so we can sway onto the UK's side. Although I think maybe it'd be better placed in Oceania, especially because we could colonize there, get a native interest, move it back to North India. South China's in case they rev, their capital is in South China. Japan, kind of a similar reason, we're trying to pull them into the market over the long term. And then, of course, we have the Pacific Coast and Dixie HQs activated because if Mexico gets attacked, we do want to be able to help out. We have native interests in kind of all the other regions. I think it's worth it to go for a native interest in a lot of, ways. Like for example, here we have one of these guys, Subjugate, just this tiny guy, which is what has given us our native interest in Indochina, which allowed us to meddle and pull guys into our market from Indochina. And so cultivating a bunch of these is very useful, and so we're going to try and continue to maybe get a little bit more. I don't know why we lost our Congo. I guess we don't have the entire state of Congo, and so maybe incorporating Congo was a mistake because now we have to use an interest, but we have a lot of interests available, so it's not the biggest deal. We probably could have been a little bit better about it. We're going to get another free interest from Oceania, but I think this is something to keep in mind because it affects your ability to sway and reverse sway. And keep in mind, this episode we did get some free, or not this episode, this run we've gotten free subjects in the example of Argentina from using the sway mechanic, which is available because we have interests declared. Alright, so we don't normally import regular clothes, and currently we are even exporting luxury clothes, but we saw that Brazil had an export route here, and man oh man, can we do these massive routes. These will positively affect us so well, and so I think it's worthwhile, even though it's going to tank our clothes industries just a little bit, just the tip. And so we're going to import from all these cats that have zero or massive ones that we have adjacencies with. The convoys will sort themselves out. We're not as convoy starved as we were last episode, and so it's not as big a deal. These will be hyper productive, and they will increase the SOL of our pops. We'll also take a look at if we can do the same thing for furniture. This is not a play pattern I'm used to, so perhaps we should have been checking this stuff more often. We are exporting the luxury goods, and simultaneously we can still import the basic goods, it looks like, at a pretty high rate. So we're expecting, if we take a look at population, we're expecting, hey, look at this excess here. And this will come from the decreased price of both regular clothes and furniture. We should be getting a bigger excess, which is going to allow these guys to rank up in standard of living, which is going to help out quite a bit. We do want to keep an eye on these plays, but making these goods cheaper, even though it makes the industries less profitable, will be good for your overall SOL, and so we're going to be kind of trying to do that. I think we're already importing as much grain as we can. We have a few things in the queue that are grain-oriented, and to be fair, we spent a long time actually expanding this queue pretty big, and one of the things we have a lot of is clothes manufacturing. we do have several levels, well, I guess maybe not that much, which is going to help even things out. Specifically, we were starting to introduce it into Beijing, where we have a lot of available labor. We'll put that on auto-expand as well, specifically in the form of unemployed pops, which you really don't want to be running, and so this is why we're kind of trying to move in that direction. Alright, this is going to be a huge tech for us. Part of our breaking free of the market, earlier, was that we ended up having to import a ton of tools, and this is one of the very best PMs in the game, the machine tools, with the tooling workshops. We already have some rubber in our market, like a decent chunk of rubber, so I'd not be shocked if we could make this swap, just kind of like raw dogging it up, but I guess we will just, swap a few over initially, and not do the full shebang instantly. We'll just swap over like half-ish. I think we can support this. I don't think we run a shortage, but let's check the prices of rubber. But what this will do is this will wind down. Okay, rubber's not cataclysmically expensive. What this will do is this will wind down all of our trade routes importing tools. Because now, okay, suddenly our rubber's actually fine enough. It's just barely fine, but the price of tools should collapse. And the trade routes that were, costing us tons of convoys, we should see these become not very productive. And if they're still productive, that's kind of yikesy. I guess they're still a little bit productive. Public healthcare is also going to be huge. We moved some of the bureaucratic centers that were in the back of the queue to the front of the queue. We also want to add a whole lot more, probably building up to EOS so that we can increase the health system up quite a bit, and so that's going to be pretty good for us. As far as tech goes, I think we're going to go human rights and feminism. We basically have no generals right now that are Intelligentsia, and we kind of want to recruit more generals. And so, as a result of this, I think if we're going to go for multiculturalism, I think we're going to do it here. And so this will be a little bit better. And we also wanted to research a couple tier 3 things before pushing for malaria prevention and try and lock in some more of the Congo. Mutual funds will not spread to us. We hope investment banks not spreads to us because this is kind of a tech we want. But if it doesn't, it's not a big deal. Mutual funds, we want to move on to commercialized. Agriculture is kind of the big one. We just got a law passed through, so just kind of taking a quick look. I think that we would want regulatory bodies. In fact, we could go regulatory bodies. The problem is that our industrials aren't very happy. I think we maybe just chill out a little bit and let them be happy. He's a protectionist, unfortunately. Not something that we can pass in order to make him extremely happy, and so that's a little bit unfortunate. Other than we could go poor laws, but it costs 400 or 500 bureaucracy to be on poor laws. Maybe we wouldn't hate it so much, though. We do have unemployed. Would we hate handing them out money? Kind of. With this amount of peasants, I think that we just want to eco on up, so I think we're going to be in a little bit of chill mode, rather than going for regulatory bodies, especially because it's going to crimp the bureaucracy a little bit more, too. We have an expiring obligation with Great Britain, which is a pretty nice thing to have, just an obligation because they can't join against you, and it looks like they will give us British Panama in exchange for the obligation, which is pretty nice, because now we will be able to do the Panama Canal, which as far as us goes, we actually want a route to this side of South America, currently, because Ecuador and Amazonia, there's no mistletoe, there's no touching, and so this will allow us to run convoys a little bit cheaper through here, as well as maybe trade with some other people. I think that the trade going through here is a little bit better for us overall, and the route, and so it'll be nice to acquire that for ourselves, and at some point when we're floating like 1k bureaucracy, we can take a go and do the survey. But we won't have the survey right now. There's no canal right now. It's just this little thing. It also maybe we don't have to worry about subjugating Colombia and then them switching to the other side. So this will be good for us. Would you look at that? They're willing to give us another obligation. Big nice. For exchange with our help in putting down the Hybridad proletarian revolt. Mexico will fall to the Great Korean Customs Union, which is really good for us because it will give us a native interest in the regions where Mexico has sway, which I think they have I think they occupy the strategic region of the Pacific, in addition to Dixie. Oh my god, please. Strategic regions, let's take a... The thing is not cooperating with us. Strategic regions. Alright, so, yeah, I think that they have... No, they have Central... Do they have Great Plains and Dixie? No, Great Plains and Pacific? No, they have Great Plains and Dixie. But either way, this will give us interests that are native there now, and we will even be able to declare adjacent ones if we wanted. So we're going to go here, we're going to go Canada in case there's a rev there, which will allow us to, you know, side with UK for juicy bits, hopefully. The Japanese shogunate also wants to join the customs union, so we can drop this bankroll. Often don't want to forget to do that. We often do forget about doing that, and we will have them join their market, our market. Now, they're not going to instantly start migrating because we don't have any Japanese, what is it called, cultural communities. We do have a Han cultural community, so maybe the exodus out of here. Kind of doubt it. Well, actually, they have unemployed, so we might end up seeing an immediate start of an exodus, but this will help us to roll Japanese cultural communities. We do accept their pops, and so this can be a source of migration, in addition to overall smoothing out our market, because they will have buy and sell orders in Japan, and so this will give us smoother prices, which is one of the things that's a bit rough about leaving the customs union, as we did last episode. So we've gone from being a massive importer of tools to being now an exporter of tools. This is really good because tools PM is really efficient, so we want a higher percentage of our market being people who are making tools, which we are doing. We are adding tooling workshops, and so this should be pretty good for us here. Alright, we have a diplomacy here that's probably going to turn out pretty nice for us, which is France is dealing with some sort of uprising. Not a big deal, normal French business. And here we can, you know, go for a trade agreement, and we would actually really like a trade agreement with them, but we actually have a ton of volume of trade with them. The thing with France is they hate our guns, naturally. They're cautious towards us, but if we're on the same side of a play as them, that attitude will change. So I imagine we can have our cake and eat it too, ask for an obligation, and then, once they become not cautious, once we join on their side of a play, I imagine that getting the trade agreement will, of course, just come and flow from that. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of dirty testing, because we see a scenario that we don't see very often. Prussia has managed to decay into being an insignificant power, which is a result of their revolution that's been going on quite a while. The revolution's having very little luck pushing. It's looking like they're starting to push in now, but what we're curious about is if we declare on Prussia and we get them to back down, what happens exactly here? So we're going to declare on Prussia to protectorate them. We must protect you from yourself. And we'll see if we can mobilize everyone and get them to back down. Because they will be very fearful. And we can sway a bunch of people as well. We looked through it, and it didn't look like any GPs would be joining the other side. And the question is okay, they're probably going to get enforced on by the other subject, and we're just going to end up reloading. But if they don't get enforced on soon by military, Communist Prussia is running out of time, because Communist Prussia is ticking towards getting enforced on themselves, and they've exhausted Prussia's might, but maybe there's some scenario where I'm thinking it's possible that what has happened, or they changed it so that revs don't break your war goals. I'm wondering if we get the same war goal against Communist Prussia. Now, it's going to get bricked if they become a major power plus, which they should become, so we're almost certainly reloading. But I'm very curious to see exactly how this shakes out. We also, I guess, will move, you know, the Navy as close as we can, or the combination of a Navy and the squad we would use to land as close as we can. But it's not really like... we can't land and enforce here. There's like just not a way for us to be able to do that. We could give obligations with Russia them. What do they want? To transfer states? Almost certainly. What do these guys want? Transfer state. We need to make sure that it's plus 75, and then we put in a bunch of extra war goals. So let's see. It is at plus 75. It's plus 66. So let's sway these guys with an obligation, which will actually give us a front as well. Oh no, wait, it won't, because they don't have a front. Unless they force on their subject, but we'll see how that shakes out. And then we put in a bunch of war goals. Open market, war reparations, Prussian war reparations. And the point is, revoke claim. We don't really care what it is. I think we'd rather be targeting Prussia. If I'm not mistaken, it does make a difference. Transfer these guys would only be liberate. Okay. Let's revoke claim on Newfoundland. I'm not 100% sure. Transfer Hohozerain. Let's see if we can do it without accruing the infamy. Canadian war reparations. And then we can still maybe sway one more person if they don't back down, but the goal is very much to get them to back down. What do we have to give you? Probably something that we just, like, would rather not. Transbachial. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, and they're the only other really big one. And now Prussia's getting enforced on. It should be clear in this. They're getting enforced on relatively quickly. But this is just a test. They back down, so they become our subject, as expected. And now they're going to get enforced on, we anticipate, by this communist Prussia. But I'm curious where this leaves us exactly. Confederation of the Rhine. Bro, can we organize the Confederation right now? Will this make a new country with our... This will make a new country with Prussia, won't it? But we want them to be Prussia. I guess maybe we need to save again right here to continue the testing and see... Because there's two courses of actions here. Organizing the Confed and not. Alright, let's try organizing the Confed. I think this is not the action we want to do, but I want to see what exactly it does. We get this, a new dawn for Germany. Confederation of the Rhine will annex Prussia. It's not... And then let's see what happens here. This becomes Prussia. We have the Confederation of the Rhine. Yeah, this isn't very useful. This isn't exactly what we wanted. But it does just chunk Prussia, because the Confederation of the Rhine is all these states, little by little. You don't say. But we could get market access to these guys, right? This wouldn't be unthinkable. We could go through Mecklenburg, this type of thing, and all we would have to do would be to subjugate them. And then merge them into the Confederation of the Rhine. I just don't think this is worth the 21 infamy. So we'll take a little bit of a reload, and we'll be back and seeing what will happen once Prussia, the revolt, enforces on our new subject of Prussia. And the conclusion is our subject just gets annexed, so this entire thing isn't worth doing, but we did want to test it out. If, however, if they were going to win against the revolution, that would have been a way for us to get the entirety of Prussia as a subject. So if they were just a little bit stronger, maybe if they had Silesia just a little bit more against the Rev, that would have been a really nice spot for us to just subjugate Prussia, basically for nothing. But instead, we will just reload from the start and not subjugate Prussia for that 20 infamy. So we have been, for some time now, improving relations with Russia, mainly just because we're trying to get them over the threshold of being not poor anymore. That way we can get a trade agreement with them, and with a trade agreement we can get ticking positive relations with them for an amount of infamy that's relatively cheap, in addition to making our trade better. We also ran a good amount of trade with communist Prussia, which has now become Prussia, with the idea being that we have a shot at pulling them into the customs union. They have a lot of debt. To be fair, we probably should have took on the debt. If we were going to take on the debt, we should have taken it on before they had the thing. But we can maybe get a trade agreement, and if not a trade agreement, we can maybe get a customs union, and if not a customs union, a trade agreement. I think it's really unlikely, but I think it's possible. But we are just waiting for the last tick of this improving relation, and then we will get a trade agreement with Russia and stop improving relations, as well as stop improving relations with Prussia once we get a chance to get a trade agreement. Actually, let's just stop improving relations. We want to be floating excess influence so that we decay our infamy a little bit faster. We want to annex Persia, and Persia's 30-something infamy, so we're going to chill out a bit until we do that. Alright, we just unlocked feminism, so it's time to start a roll-in. We are also pretty high up on the mass migration attraction list. We are number 2 currently. If we take a look at mass migration attraction, largely because we haven't been incorporating stuff, and we're still trying to understand the system, but it seems to be the case that if you discriminate, you can't get mass migrations. This seems to be the case so far, or this is kind of what I'm inferring based on the fact that we have yet to see a single one. And so we're going to try and go for, following getting feminism, we're going to try and go for multiculturalism, which is great because we actually have a absolute shortage of generals. We haven't been recruiting any generals because we don't want to recruit any Intelligentsia generals, knowing that we want to try and roll humanitarians. And so we are going to get started right away trying to find someone who is a humanitarian, and the reason we are doing this is so that we can guarantee ourselves rolling that humanitarian into the government, and then we just exile this boyo, and then he will be replaced by a popular general. If there's only one popular general, then that one will be replaced, and so we're trying to get it to be the case that we have a humanitarian just for that. Alright, so we found our boy. He's actually going to be an anarchist, which is a bit but worse than a humanitarian, but we don't want to keep rolling. We don't have too much clout on our Intelligentsia, only like 8%, so it's fairly infrequent we actually see a guy to be rolled. So we're going to take him, we're going to promote him up just to increase the clout of the Intelligentsia, and then we will exile this Jingoist. Smell you later. You were nice when you were here, and now we have the anarchist in power, or the anarchist is out and about. We will need to put him into government, and I have a sneaking suspicion, yeah, we will probably have to take the Confucian scholars out. I wonder if taking the agrarian party out helps. Okay, looks like it does. We'll go with this. We will, of course, get this guy who's not ideal. We're hoping that he dies sometime, but we will be able to now go to multiculturalism. Not too many people oppose it. It should be relatively straightforward. We could bolster the intelligentsia in order to make passing this easier, but I think we're going to just sink in and have this go for now. We do have a little bit of an authority problem. I think that we have been bolstering the trade unionists for a little bit of time. We'll just come off of that, and then that will be fine, and we will be going towards multiculturalism just the day after giving feminism. Oh no, a storm approaches. What will we do? Probably, yeah, we'll just do that one and be off on our way. Okay, so we're coming close to the point where we're not decaying infamy anymore. We want to declare Annex Persia. This is 30-something infamy, and so what we're going to do is we're actually going to improve relations with Russia. The reason being is we like our trade agreement with Russia. We will get minus 15.5 relations with them when this happens, which will nuke it because it will take us under minus 20. So we can't go under minus 20, so we're going to improve relations, hoping to get them, to plus 10 or plus 11, at which point we'll not automatically kick out our trade agreement, which will help to maintain a cooperative relationship with them, which we are hoping they won't side with Persia. Now, I think we could still probably win. Turkey's likely to side with Persia as well. We would prefer them in our customs union. Right now they're in Russia's, but this is going to be a slight adjustment we are making. Alternatively, if I'm not mistaken, Manchuria, their truce with us is up relatively soon, and we could just annex Manchuria instead, which will be a bit better in terms of map looking, because we'll just have a nice big Korea, so maybe we do that. Also, the land is probably a little bit more valuable, having gold on it, but roughly speaking, it's a very similar sort of thing, where we're getting a lot of really good mappy states that have a combination of coal and iron. Actually, the ones in Manchuria have a ton of wood as well, which is not the case, in Persia. The thing about Persia, though, they have the opium, which we do love the opium, so, yeah. We now pull Brazil into the customs union, which is going to be pretty nice. Prussia, we're still working on. We actually started bankrolling them. We were expecting them to decay below minor power at some point, or sorry, turn into a major power at some point, but they haven't yet, which means we really should have taken on their debt forever ago, because we would have an obligation now that we would be able to use, but we're just going to bankroll them and see if maybe we can pull them into the customs union. This will cap them at major power, so they won't be able to come up. I don't think that they conform to the North German Fed while inside of our market. I'm not really 100% sure. I don't have much experience in this, and maybe we even swap sides or switch over to Prussia to take a look and see if this is possible, but this would be interesting if we could kind of baby them along by pulling other people into the market over and around here, which would involve us basically playing the Prussia mini game for them. Kind of a little bit of an interesting thing. Well, it looks like all our years at the academy might have been wasted, perhaps because we have this revolutionary Prussia and there's no shot that this other Prussia is going to survive. However, there's a chance we could reverse sway our way into the hearts and minds of revolutionary Prussia here, which is going to require enlightened despotate. So this is going to require us running at the very least a ton of trade, hopefully with them. We're going to start bankrolling them, run a bunch of trade, and then we are going to use a yo-yo sway to try and make this work. And if it does work, then getting Prussia for free would be very, very nice. Alright, so we did as many trade routes as we could. We also are fully recruited on all the conscripts everywhere. The reason for this is they will view us as having a bigger military if we do this, even if we don't have the conscripts raised. And we can take a look at, their attitude towards, swaying onto one side. And we'll see, you can't become a subject. There's zero shot of them becoming a subject, but a minus score of minus 81, this might be overcomeable by the fact that we have have a huge amount of military if we use a yo-yo sway here. So we're never enforcing on Landfang before the end of before the time is up for us to sway in here. It's just going to be just shy. So we'll just settle for a white peace, which, okay, we get 1 infamy wasted. 1 year at the Academy was wasted there. But the big years at the Academy, the Prussian years at the Academy, might not be wasted here. So what we're going to do is, we can't sway in here. We see that it's a score of -81. I think we could overcome that. Based on limited experience, and so we'll try siding over here, and very often this thumbs up, thumbs down, it lies, and we see here, this is coming from the military power of Korea, which is bolstered by the fact that we put in a whole bunch of conscripts, so we'll ask for them to become a protectorate. Kindly, Fascist Prussia, will you bend the knee? And of course they will say, yes, we'll bend the knee. Yes, we'll bend the knee. They bent the knee. So now we have acquired Prussia for 0 infamy. Wahahaha. Alright, we also need to accrue a little bit of infamy, so I think we're going to reduce autonomy on Venezuela here, which is 98% chance. Again, these guys will also accept demands more when we have the bunch of conscripts kind of fully committed. We don't actually go through this too often, or anywhere near as often as we should, but it helps you diplomatically and all these types of things, because it makes everyone more scared of you, even though there's no functional difference really between you having assigned this sort of thing and not. But we will be getting a free Prussia. And by free, I mean fascist, because it is fascist Prussia. It's the freest, most fascist Prussia. Pretty much just as soon as we pass multiculturalism, we get a mass migration from British, which suggests, at least in my mind, that mass migration is gated perhaps by culture, but not by religion, or maybe this is just a part of the value. We've been sitting at kind of the top of the lobby as far as mass migration attraction goes for some time now, or at least in the top 4 or 5, and had yet to get a single one, and then we just get one right after binking multiculturalism, but at the same time, we still have state religion. So I don't think that I think that we discriminate against these people, the Sinhala people. I guess we'll take a quick look at the population, the British Sinhala people. Where are they? Sinhala. Is this one of these guys that we don't know about? Oh my god. Please, Sinhala people, there you go. There you are. Are they discriminated in our country? And ooh, they're machinists right away. They are discriminated against in our country, so they're discriminated on the basis of religion, but once they get here, they can convert up just fine to our religion. And so this is kind of, we're still trying to figure out exactly how the migration works, exactly what's best, because it still might be best to go total separation and this type of thing, because you discriminate less, if that's a thing. But my understanding of the game so far has been discrimination's non-binary, or is just binary, and so it's curious that religion does not seem to gate it, but culture does seem to gate your ability to arrive. Let's just double check here. Can we invite people? Yeah, just our own guys. So definitely a curious thing. I suppose we might start switching gears now, depending on how many pops we have. We still have so many peasants, but as we start to run low on peasants, the plan has developed to be, hey, we're going to just greener grass all over the place once we have a bunch of peasants, and really just pull in the migrants that way and build tall, kind of from our base, except maybe we're not building tall so much anymore because we're planning on annexing Persia. We're almost done, with fascist Prussia, almost done with regular Prussia. This is just a matter of time, and let's see if we can let's see Paul Allen's war goals. Do we want anything from here? I don't think so, unless... So the question to me is going to be, can Prussia form North Germany after we subjugate them? And we'll take a bit of a save, and then we'll swap sides, and we'll check that in just a second here. Alright, well, they're just flooding in, so, we get 2 more mass migration attractions, and for me, this serves as not just coincidence, but confirmation that... Well, it's not confirmation if it just makes it, way easier to get the pops if you only have one mode of discrimination, but this is entirely news to me if this is the case. So it does seem that mass migrations are gated by culture, but not by religion. Okay, so we swapped, and it does seem to be the case that we can try and do this, or North German Confederation does seem possible for us, even if we are a subject, which is kind of a bit strange, that we will have this journal entry as a subject. We're a minor power here. What is going to be a little bit of a curious one is, will we be able to get, if we switch back to Korea, and we saved before we did this so we don't brick our... all of our tasty bits, which is, of course, our GDP line. It's not the size of the line, it's the shape. What's curious to me is, will we be able to do something like... Ooh, we can't... There's not a war we can declare on Austria. What about here? Can we side for North German? So we can't declare on Austria, so maybe we have to start damaging relations with them. Or at least end the trade agreement. Here, let's end the trade agreement, expel the diplomats, is there a way to damage relations further? Your proposed trade agreement. They say yes, and then we end the trade agreement. Oh, we can't end it immediately? Shoot. Oh my god, it's so close too. So, I think we'll just damage relations until we get under cordial, and then we'll see if a war would allow us to... Again, we're just going to load from here, but just from testing purposes, I'm very curious if we can sway in Prussia for German leadership if we deck on Austria playing as Korea. So, taking a look at it, it doesn't look like we can sway in German leadership if we go look at war goals. We don't see German leadership in here. We're going to just swap sides again to Prussia, just to kind of check things out a little bit more, because we're curious if Prussia can offer to support this, well, we're going to see if we can offer support for war goals. Can't do anything of the sort. Can we just deck on Austria? Do we have a truce with them? They're already the same part of a diplomatic play. We're just going to declare neutrality here, and we're going to see if they can even deck for German leadership. It doesn't look like it, so we're going to double check the cultures for forming Germany. It looks like, okay, it looks like Austria is the only unification candidate here, which is how I suspected it working, and so... I'm guessing, I think for the unification candidates, my understanding is you have to be a GP, and you can't be a GP if you can't be a GP if you're someone's subject. So this would make forming the North German Federation impossible, or it would make it impossible for us to usher Prussia across that line. So this kind of confirms it. I'm not 100% sure. I wish I could get a tooltip that would just say what unification. Let's see. A major unification allows countries to become unification candidates. A unification candidate is someone who's viable. The conditions for who qualifies as a unification candidate varies depending on what the unified nation is. Yep, okay. So for forming Germany, I think it does require you to be a GP. If it only requires a major power, Prussia can definitely become a major power under our wing, but that's as far as they can get. But currently they're a minor, so shout out to minors. So the mines... So many mines here. I don't think we'll end up annexing Prussia or anything like that, but we did get them as a subject as Korea. Now we'll reload back to the normal save. So we have been working to bankroll and improve relations with the Netherlands for a little bit in order to restore balance to the western portion of Prussia's market. You can see here they don't have market access. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom. They have market access, which should help them out quite a bit. We're also probably going to reduce autonomy here. We can do Confederation of the Rhine, which would organize the Confederation, and these guys I don't think count as a subject, just being in a customs union, but this would make it so we could go after all the North German goodies quite a bit easier. But it feels dirty reducing autonomy on Prussia for 18 infamy. Feels real dirty. Really, really dirty. Like the dirtiest. Alright, and I think we're going to conclude the episode here. As promised, we did in fact double construction, moving up from the mid-500s to 1100s, which is a big come up, but really, truly, the story of this episode is not really the construction, it's getting Prussia as a puppet for free, and then reducing autonomy on them, giving them the normal Germany color, but only as Prussia. We could... Here, let's take a little bit of a save. We could do Confederation of the Rhine. I don't think we're supposed to here, but it's always amusing to see Prussia being the only state in the Confederation of the Rhine, in addition to Hohenzollern, which has got some problems. But It looks like Austria also annexed. I don't know when they did that. Are they now the South German Fed? But they don't say South German Fed. But we can do Confederation of the Rhine if we wanted to. And we could say a new dawn for Germany. Confederation of the Rhine will annex Hohenzollern. So it's going to be Prussia becoming them and then annexing them. You need to have 2 subjects in Germany. And so this is just like a look at what we can do, which would give us an opportunity to... they're the same color. I was looking for the teal color. They're the same color. But this would give us an opportunity to go for... I think we still have a truce with them. Yeah, we do. But this is going to give us an opportunity to annex these guys for way cheaper, because what we could do is we could just protectorate these guys and then absorb them into the Confederation of the Rhine once we make Confed a puppet, which will allow us to really, really do everything much cheaper, because if you only have to pay the protectorate costs in order to get a puppet, this is kind of a big deal. And so, like, if we were to come here and go for protectorate, it would be 15 infamy to get Hanover as a puppet. And eventually, you know, annex Confederation of the Rhine sometime down the road. I don't think this run's going to last that long, but it is a play pattern that is worth knowing about. You could also form the Confederation of the Rhine generally really quickly by going after Netherlands, who have Luxembourg as a subject under normal wee-woo conditions. Yeah, I think we're going to conclude the episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It does help out. And other than that, have a good one.